There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
I'm alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Well, if Thursday night's race was anything to indicate, we are in for one barnstormer of an event here for round number 3 of the 2022 Tucson Sound Art Cup Series for Season 1 on the year. And round number 3, it's your running of the Cheerwine 200 from Rockingham, North Carolina at the Rockingham Speedway. My name is Nola Bempo. I've got Alfonso Dixon beside me in the broadcast booth. Once again, Rob Melnick down behind the cameras for tonight's production. So 200 laps getting set to go racing for us here tonight, Al. And boy, oh boy, that Thursday night butt kicker race was just something to behold. And I have a feeling we are in for a lot of good things for tonight's Tucson Sound Art Cup Series race.
Absolutely, Nolan. And if that Thursday race was any indicator of what we can expect tonight, it's going to be an exciting, action-filled race. This track will not disappoint. She's bumpy. She's temperamental. We're going to see relationships form. We're going to see relationships break. We're going to see guys hitting their heads up against the wall. So I think this is going to be an awesome race and a great opportunity to showcase just how fast some of these setups can be.
It should be an absolutely phenomenal race getting set to go for us here tonight. 200 laps is, of course, the distance that we're going to be racing here tonight from the Rock. And with that will come, of course, as always, 3 different stages. Stage cautions at laps 40 and 80. 6 tire sets on the night, with this track being so abrasive on the tires. And just like Thursday, estimated 69 laps for the fuel window. So fuel not going to be a factor all the way until stage number 3. And with all of that being said in mind, it should be a very entertaining race for us here tonight, as drivers will be able to easily push foot to the floor the entire way in your first 2 stages here, Al.
Yeah, foot to the floor. That's going to be an interesting concept, because a lot of these guys are going to want to see if their cars are going to hold up better in the long run. Tire wear at this track generally hasn't been an issue, but when it falls off, it falls off. So it'll be interesting to see how drivers are going to attack this, that when we get to that third stage. First 2 stages, though, should be easy breezy. Like you said, pedal down all the way around.
Let's take a look at your point standings coming on over into tonight. Chris Severa finds himself now top of the boards, just like he is in the Butt Kicker Cup Series for the time being. And Chris Johnson, currently 27 points behind Severa. Powell, another 4 back. in third place. Wojcinski is fourth. Noah Bitz is fifth place of the points, 34 points behind your race leaders. So at the moment, second on back through all the way really down to sixth with Adrian Watts. All very close, separated by just 10 points for those guys. Josh Ogre and Barrick Uphold each only have one start apiece so far, yet they somehow sit 7th and 8th in points, showing that if they make some regular starts here, Al, they could be a serious force to contend with if they can put together some consistent performances.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, and it's going to be interesting to see how Noah Bitz is going to perform. I don't think he's actually on the roster tonight. You know anything about that?
Well, possibly busy and not able to attend tonight's race. I know Bitz getting set to fall a little bit further down, and I know that one driver looking to have a good night is going to be that number 62 machine of Chris Severa. Of course, had an absolutely dominating run of the Butt Kicker Cup Series race to win that last race just 3 nights ago. And now he is going to be looking to see if he can potentially sweep the week and go and get himself a second win here tonight in the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series.
Yeah, absolutely. Those G&G guys, man, they're always. It's interesting to see how they show up. They always come ready to race, and it seems like they got a great setup, putting themselves to be the cars to beat as we're wrapping up qualifying. I'm just kind of excited about the opportunity we're getting ready to get to see these cars take on the old rock.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be an absolutely thrilling race coming up for us tonight. 200 laps, and for the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series at least, the first time that we're going to be seeing this low downforce, high horsepower package in effect, and it provided quite the spectacle for us 1 week ago. Well, not 1 week ago, 3 nights ago for the ISCA Butt Kicker Cup Series, and here tonight for the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series, we're expecting only good things as well, with racing being so consistently, well, we were talking about a little bit better here consistently in this Saturday Night Cup Series. Only one way to see how this race will play out, and that is to get to the green flag. Qualifying coming to a close. Let's take a quick step away. It's time for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave.
Driver, start your engine! Starting on pole position for the Cheerwine 200 from the Rockingham Speedway is none other than Adrian Watts. So it looks like JBR getting set to kick off their race here tonight on a high. Chris Johnson in the G&G 48 going to sit beside him in second place. Kenny Powell going to be down in third for the time being. That puts Eric Clay now in 4th position on road number 2, with Greg Wachinski rounding out your top 5. Joshua O'Connor sits beside him in 6th place. How about Eric Uphold in 7th place? Had a strong outing, got a podium finish, of course, at Talladega just 1 week ago. Looking to see if he can replicate that here tonight at the Rock. Josh Schaffner is in 8th. John Mullins 9th. And making his first start of the season so far out, it is Al Kozlowski in 10th place.
Right, and then Don Avery is going to be in 11th with Chris Severa starting 12th. Richard Elliott 13th, Jay Hone 14th. Brian Watson in 15th, Joshua Watson in 16th. Wayne Grassi, Paul Osen.
There's going to be Gary Adamson and Ken Aylen 19th and 20th, with Robert Pattengale rounding out your 21-car field here from the Rockingham Speedway. So Pattengale starting this one from the tail end, 16th on back, not setting qualifying times. So, bit of a mixed field up in front. You got some guys from G&G, got quite a few of those drivers, as a matter of fact. 2nd through 4th, all waving G&G banners. And then, of course, you're going to have guys like O'Connor just tucked in behind. Look out for Eric Uphold with the Shake and Bake crew now. He's looking to see if he can potentially have a run. Josh Schaffner, racing for Premier Racing Setup Shops now. He is going to be over there in that 8th position. He'll be looking to try to charge his way to the front after having a couple of good starts so far this season. Only one start so far. That was at Talladega. But like we said, that start alone, good enough to bump him up to 7th place at the points out of about 30 drivers here, Al. So I think that just goes to show just how much of a threat that 50 car can be.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when they get it dialed in. But the big thing for tonight is going to be able to see who's actually been working, because this track's going to tell who's been at the track, who's been out there, putting in the laps, dialing in those setups, which team's got it working together, and who's going to go ahead and try to take this thing up to the front.
Still waiting on the pace car to lead this field of 21 cars strong out to the green flag. I think we were just waiting on Don Avery, recovering from a little bit of technical difficulties. He has now gotten all of that sorted, so the pace car starts to roll. Now this track, of course, there's a lot of history behind it now, and it is a bumpy track. It's a fun track, but it is very much a difficult track, and one that can bite hard if you don't respect it. What do you think we can watch out for tonight, and who do you think your picks are to win when we come to the green flag?
I say turn 2. That's the first thing I'm going to say, because the track has been rescanned, but it has not been repaved. So she gets a little bumpy, and coming off of 2, if you just don't hold your mouth right, you'll find yourself up there kissing that wall. So the person I think I'm going to be looking out for tonight is Adrian Watts. Was the only one to put up that blistering qualifying time, but I think Chris Severa is the guy that I'm going to be looking out for. What about yourself?
I would say Severa. I mean, he had such a dominant performance just 3 nights ago, and he is now looking to try to replicate that coming on over here in tonight's race. Adrian Watts holding the field back just a little bit from the iRacing safety car, and we get set to take this one to the iRacing green. Pace car pulls down and in, and Adrian Watts checking the field up from 50 miles to just 43. Green flag drops, and we go racing from the Rock.
Going to be interesting to see how these drivers attack turn 1, because this is going to be a race where guys going to try to go 3 wide, possibly on that start, but it's going to really be about that track position. That's what they're going to jockey for. So as we start coming around and Adrian Watts takes us into turn 3, he's going to lead that. He's going to lead that first lap. So we're going to see what goes on here and transpires.
Adrian Watts will lead the opening lap from the Rockingham Speedway in the Cheerwine 200. He's got Kenny Powell trying to follow, and a train of G&G drivers looking to try to punch through and take that race lead away early on. Kenny Powell looking for the bottom side. Watts already moving up top. Now, this is something we saw coming into play big time in the Bucket Cup Series race. A lot of drivers wanted to rip that high side. A lot of guys utilizing the outside line to carry momentum around these corners and around this racetrack, getting those runs down the straightaways. Worked great on defense, worked occasionally for offense as well. But right now, early in the run, Powell's looking to take all the advantage with the fresh tires on the inside line.
Yeah, Powell's definitely not going to sit behind him. He's too patient for Watts, as he's definitely going to want to get out front, take the lead, put down some lead laps, and try to show the way here. That's what I think. He followed a lot on Thursday night, but I don't think that's good. I think this is his time to shine, and he's going to do everything he can to get out front. it's interesting to see how drivers are starting to try to kind of line up and get the cars warm, get the brakes coming in. As you drive, the tire fall off really isn't that big of a deal. That's what I've noticed so far. Seems like the longer you go, the faster your car kind of gets until you get to that point where you do reach fall off, which 40 laps should be really no big deal for these guys at all as we continue on here to Green Flag Racing.
Joshua O'Connor starting to slip back. Lost about 3 spots just this lap alone, up to John Mullins, Jay Hone as well as Joshua Watson in the JBR 01. So looks like one driver looked to slip a little bit further down the order. Up front, I'm seeing Greg Wyszynski potentially under fire for the 5th position. Josh Schaffner is starting to apply some pressure in the Premier Racing setup shop. Number 50 Chevrolet working that bottom side, and just behind him, how about Barrick Uphold having to defend against Chris Severa, who's already on the chart in his G&G Aflac Mustang, but Uphold holding the outside line in that King of the Hill Mustang and trying to see if he can manage to take that 7th spot back. And so far, though, not having an easy time of it, looking for the inside this time in the 3, but not close enough to properly send it down. Now, Uphold, I've seen this in the past. He is very, very good on saving tires here at tracks like this. The only thing is he tends to sometimes save a little bit too much, so we'll see if that's going to come back to bite him here today. But I know one thing is certain. At a track like this, saving tires could prove vital later on.
Yeah, and that's interesting because as Adrian Watts is leading this thing, we've known that his preference has been kind of to lay back, lay off a little bit early on, and then make that run a little bit later on. But now he's actually leading the pace, so just kind of wondering out how that's going to play into their strategy. Is that something that they actually put in there, or is that something that just kind of worked out for them? But it's that G&G car keep probably still going to be right there behind them for most of this way.
And battle on for the race lead. Powell's made the move up the inside of Adrian Watts, out of turn 4 and into turn 1. G&G's looking to push their cars back up onto the point, and Powell with the inside line going to push out wide. The JVR Chevy going to be forced up towards the outside wall down Thunder Rally for the 10th time tonight. And Adrian Watts looks like he might be losing the race lead here if Powell could just get clear, and that he does. Powell will lead. We have our first lead change on the night as Powell rockets to the point.
Yeah, and sometimes these swaps for position, they take a little bit longer than a couple turns at Rockingham. You're really going to have to continue to drive that car. Sometimes she's going to push up on you in the turn a little bit. It's interesting to see that Chris Severa has actually got our fastest lap on the board, so he's obviously charging to the front, so it's going to be interesting to see how long that 62 gas and go Chevy is going to take to get up front.
Looks like G&G aren't wanting to work together too much. Wyszynski battling it out with Eric Kling at the moment in the number 95. And just up front, you see Schaffner now looking to apply some pressure with Chris Severa just tucked in behind. Schaffner continuing to slowly climb his way further and further up through this field. Just overtook Wyszynski for the 5th position. And now Wyszynski backing out early to allow Severa to get a run around the outside line. I think that might have been a little bit more strategic for Wyszynski to allow teammates up in front so Severa can continue to battle it out with Schaffner, see if he can maybe put that number 50 car behind him.
Yeah, but see, Josh Schaffner just smacked the wall. Well, Jay Hone, rather, just smacked the wall with that 12 car. That's something that you're going to see a lot of tonight, but this track doesn't lend itself too well for that. And I'm sorry I put Chris Severa in a Chevy instead of a Ford there. My apologies about that, but I wouldn't do that to my best friend.
So at the moment, your running order through the top 10 is Powell, Johnson, Watts, Kling, Schaffner, Severa, Wyszynski, Uphold, Watson. And it has been a very fierce battle from there on out. How about Barrick Uphold up the inside of Joshua Watson now? Uphold has continued to slip back and is continuing to try to fight back. But as we've seen before, Al, that JBR Chevy of Joshua Watson is a real force in nature to contend with, especially when he manages to get down into the rhythm of things. He can be one of the most difficult drivers to overtake on this racetrack. And up in front, the battle's continuing on as Kling losing a spot to Josh Schaffner now. And Kling up to the high side in 1 and 2. Severa up the bottom. He's going to try to push out on the exit of turn number 2. Chris Severa going to look to fight his way up into the 5th position now, and that he will take. So Kling slipping back to about 6th place now for the time being. Watson is trying to make it 7th.
Yeah, but see, Watson is a name that you're going to say whether it's the first lap or the 10th lap. He's always going to be a car that we're going to be calling his name, calling his number. So it's just early on into this race, but we're going to get excited because he is actually going to be up here on the pace as we're bringing this thing well on into the halfway through the first stage.
Oh, look out! Joshua Watson with a huge tank slapper out of turn number 4. Slid down, kept it off the apron, and that might have saved the 0-1 from further damage. That's allowed Uphold to close the gap. Now Uphold on the attack, and they make contact down the back straightaway. Barrick Uphold getting aggressive here in his shake and bake Ford Mustang, trying to find a way through. Bottom looking to the inside. Watson came off the wall just a touch. It's a good block, though, from Watson to kill the momentum of Uphold, who's now got a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to try to regain lost ground.
As Kenny Powell continues to lead the way for this, it's going to be a great race here today. What are you thinking as we've gone halfway through this? Is this lining up the way you really wanted? You thought it was going to? How's this parallel in the Thursday night race? Are you seeing anything that kind of concerns you, or everybody's just still feeling it out?
So far, it's been about similar with what we saw in the Thursday night race. I know that it was right around now where we actually had our first caution on the night, and so far we've had no implication that could be happening at any point soon. A little bit surprised that Severa is not further up the order, considering how much of a dominant run that he had in the Buckyear Cup Series race just 3 nights ago. That being said, still running in the top 5, definitely has the chance to extend on this and go further to the point. And he has a 27-point gap to work with here at Rockingham, so he can afford to lose a few spots here early on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, and one thing that we're going to have to keep in mind on this, there's racing going on all around this track, but the biggest race is going to be with the drivers and the track, because this track is real bumpy. And sure, you lose your focus for 1 split second, and you'll find yourself into the wall. And these Gen 7 cars, I mean, I'm still kind of on the fence about how they are once they make contact with the wall. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it makes that big of a deal, but sometimes it takes a lot of momentum away from the car. So there's going to be racing all around this track as we continue on, and I'm excited just to see how this thing's going to shake out.
Looking a bit further back to Wayne Grossi and Joshua Connor. Caught them behind one car into the wall. That was Brian Watson, and right on cue, caution number 1 right around the same time where caution number 1 came out in the Thursday night race. It was Richard Elliott and Brian Watson. Battle for 16th that went a little bit overboard as Elliott got forced from the outside wall. It was the 0-2 and the 84 that got collected, and Watson just missed the corner, drifted up and shoved Elliott into the wall and spun himself around in the process.
Yeah, guys get that tunnel focus. This is going around and around in circles, and obviously he wasn't clear, and that's just sad because these guys are racing for 16th. It's not like there's a battle for 2nd or 3rd, and it's still in the first stage. So that's just really, really unfortunate luck there for that 84 car.
Oh, and got drilled by Paul Olsen as well, who clips the 08 right before he can take that toe, and now yellow flag pit stops underway for the first time tonight, and currently headed the field down is one Kenny Powell, and who is that staying out? That is Schaffner looking to stay out in the long run. That is a bold call, I would reckon, Al.
Yeah, it is, but it's a lot to play with it because, like I said, tire wear here is kind of finicky. But if Josh knows that his car is getting faster, if he's watching his lap times, why not go ahead and get out of traffic and get up front? Because cautions breed cautions, and at this track, there's no exception.
And there you see Severa looking to exit pit road, and he will beat Kenny Powell out of pit road, and that is because Severa took right sides only, whereas everybody else took 4 tires. Well, chop it up a little bit on fuel, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and last week we were just talking about Severa taking left sides only, so here he is tonight, flipping up that pit strategy on us and taking right sides only. But yeah, like I said, you want to get out of traffic here at this track. You don't want to be back there and put yourself in a situation where you're going to have somebody bounce off the wall and possibly take you out. So in tire wear, 20 laps or so on the tires, yeah, I think you're still good to go. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
1 lap before we get this race back underway here from the Rockingham Speedway, and at this point in time, Brian Watson is already out of this race. Paul Olsen is, I believe, still in pit road fixing up damage, and They'll join the likes of Gary Adamson, who retired early on about 22 laps ago, just 3 laps into this 200-lap event. And from what I have been hearing and monitoring over on our live chats, it sounds to me like potential technical problems with the actual steering wheel on the rig that he works with there. So that is an unfortunate way to go.
Yeah, very unfortunate indeed. As the lights are out on the pace car, and looks like we're getting ready to be taking this thing back green. Already had our first caution, which is kind of surprising that we didn't quite make it through the first stage, but I think that's just going to show us what we can be in store here as we continue on. Get ready to go green again here at Rockingham.
Pace cars down and in, and looks like Severo leaning on the door. Oh, look out! Spinning the back tires. And that is going to allow Schaffner to get a huge launch for the lead as the entire outside road checked up. We're clean and green, though, down into turn number 1. Chris Johnson up the inside of G&G teammate Chris Severa, and both drivers not willing to let go of each other. How about John Mullins looking up the inside of the 52 car of Ken Allen, coming around through 3 and 4, and Eric Kling looking to battle out with Wayne Grossi. You saw slide out a little bit just from the back end. It's a hornet's nest of cars in the mid-pack.
Yeah, Ken Allen, he's just in the place that he doesn't want to be. It seems like he's trying to get his car to come back to him as he makes slight contact with the wall. But right now, he's the car that everybody's just trying to get around.
Allen scraped the wall, and Avery scraped him, and Powell almost ran through all 3 of them. Allen continuing to slip back. This is absolutely detrimental. Wayne Grossi now to look for the inside as Al Kozlowski battles it out with teammate Kenny Powell through 1 and 2. How about O'Connor trying to have a run as well? But Wayne Grossi going to find his way through. Up front for the lead, Josh Schaffner continuing to lose just a little bit of ground. Back to Adrian Watts, but what might help him is if Chris Severa looks up the inside of Adrian Watts, which he will. That buys Schaffner some precious breathing room coming to 10 to go. Those tires might not be impacting this pace as much as I thought it might.
No, like I said, it was still early on, but 5-0 still got to do everything he can to lead the way here and not find himself, but, in the middle of something that's unfortunate as we got a car that's off the pace down on the inside line.
Joshua Watson having a big slide on turn number 4. He saved it, though. We'll keep it green. How about Adrian Watts still working the outside line of Chris Severa? Coming around through 3 and 4 down Thunder Alley, and that time by Severa really leaning on Watts to force him wide into the corner. That only helps Watts set up an amazing run though on Josh Schaffner, and the number 50 Premier Setup Shop machine is now under fire. Watts looking high, trying to find a way through, and it's side by side for the race lead down the back straightaway.
That 50 car is going to get mighty wide, though, coming out of 3 and 4 because, like I said, it's going to take a couple laps to process this, but this is showing you just how much stake these drivers are putting on those stage points.
Under 10 laps to go. Adrian Watts almost clear for the race lead. Just needs to push a little bit more. Now clears out of turn number 2, and Schaffner continues to be under fire. 3-1 now for second place. Severa around the outside. Johnson around the outside. Severa around the low side. So the tire wear finally kicking in for Josh Schaffner. Now that the other cars behind him have gotten to their rhythm. Watson's through. Wachinski's through. Now the question is, does Chris Johnson have enough time to try to run down Adrian Watts coming to 6 to go?
The problem with Schaffner is probably not just his tires, but once you get knocked off the pace for a little bit, if everybody else is on the pace, they're just going to freight train past you. I think that might have been a little bit of what happened, and he just found himself, a little bit, discombobulated, if you will, but I think he can now get the hammer back down and try to make up those positions or even gain some, hopefully.
Still watching Schaffner slipping back, and he's now having to fight against John Mullins. And just behind him, Avery is having a moment with Eric Kling, trying to keep Kling at bay, while Uphold continues to drop back outside of the stage points now around the outside line. 5 laps to go in stage number 1, and for the time being, it's Barrick Uphold all in the battle with Kenny Powell down on the bottom side through 1 and 2. One of the only side-by-side battles. Powell's pushing up! Look out! He puts Barrick Uphold into the outside wall, and that's going to shove Wachinski out as well.
And that is not what you want to have happen. Powell had contact with the wall on Thursday night, so he's no stranger to that, but just not wanting to reduplicate those actions here or efforts tonight.
Battles on for the race lead. Chris Johnson on the inside of Adrian Watson. This time by through turn 2. He's got the move done. And now Chris Johnson is going to go through to the race lead. And they're wrecking in turn number 3. Schaffner hard into the outside wall. Avery's gone with them. Got to look at that. And now caution flag will fly.
And that will end the stage.
It will.
Because that will put us right there where we'd be. And, the bad thing is no one wanted that. That's the worst possible thing that could have happened. I think we just tore up some race cars here, y'all.
Powell down the inside of Avery just sent him into Josh Schaffner. Both cars slamming hard into the outside wall. What a hit for both drivers. Good news for Uphold. That allowed him back up into the stage points.
Yeah, but Uphold's got damage on his car, too. It's looking like he's just got some bad decisions that he's made there on that car. So now everybody's going to come in, and I bet Josh Schaffner's probably, if we could have talked to him, but he kind of took himself out of that situation. But I wonder what his takeaway is from this. You know what I mean? You don't take tires. You're the only one that doesn't pit, and you find yourself slipping back, out of points.
Well, on the subject of Barrick Uphold's damage, don't forget that he did get into Kenny Powell got up into him and pushed him into the outside wall just a couple of laps prior. So that is definitely not going to help the situation. As pit stops now underway, Chris Johnson led them down. He is your official Stage 1 winner. And Brian Watson, Jay Home, both staying out up in front.
Yeah, that stage did not disappoint. I mean, we had a lot of exciting races all over the track. How many lead changes?
About 3, 4 maybe?
Yeah, so I definitely think now, and the best part for these guys, they can go in and get their damage fixed on the car. You don't have to worry about anything. Come back out, get ready to race again. These cars are pretty tough. They're going to have to be if we're going to make it 200 laps around this thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't disagree with you more on that one. Sorry, couldn't agree with you more on that one. Still have 2 laps left to go, so if we have the chance, I want to really quickly see if we can't dial up your Stage 1 winner. Chris Johnson, this is Dola Rempel up at the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I believe you're 2 to green, so I'll make this short and sweet. Stage 1 coming to a very dramatic end very, very quickly, and of course that helped you to get your Stage 1 win, or you reckon you might be able to have a run for Stage 2 as well?
We'll see. Chris is being a thorn in my side, and Adrian's there also. It's going to be a really competitive race tonight.
It'll be a competitive race indeed, and seeing as you're going to be coming around to 1 to go, I believe this next time by. Like I said, we'll keep it short and sweet. So thanks for your real quick thoughts on that one. Before I let you go, what about you'd like to shout out for your number 48 G&G machine?
Of course, G&G, Southern Spiral Pipe, and you guys up in the booth.
Thank you, Chris, for taking the time to join us out here tonight. Congrats on a Stage 1 win. Best of luck in number 2.
Thank you, sir.
So Chris Johnson managing to get a Stage 1 win, but with this latest cycle of pit stops, I believe he'll be cycled out to around the 5th position, if I'm not mistaken on that one. Looks like, check that, he'll be starting 4th place on this restart. As we go 1 to green, Jay Hone, your race leader, John Mullins, is in 2nd. The only issue I see at the moment up in front is that leader on 16-lap old tires and 14-lap older tires than everybody behind him.
And also, he's going to have a little bit of damage on the right front. So, like I said, cautions breed caution. So, putting everybody back together and Jay elected to stay out, to possibly put himself on 53-lap old tires, that's a bold move, Cotton.
I wonder what his thought process was about trying to stay out like this. Do you think he thinks he can maybe hold off the pressure from behind to get a Stage 2 win?
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to be telepathic or clairvoyant and try to figure out what these guys are thinking, because right now I'm just along for the ride. We just saw what happened to the last guy that did this as we get ready to go back to green flag racing.
And green flag race we go. Huge check up back of the field and up pulls into the outside wall. Caution flies again. And all the fortunate incidents that happened to Barrick Uphold over at Talladega, unfortunately, have not carried over to stage number 2. You talk about a massive checkup in the front end. What I think is Al Kozlowski jump the start. We'll see this here. Pace cars down and in. Watch the 88, right in front. And yeah, Kozlowski jumps the restart, and Up will just run to the back of him. Avery can't check up in time.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. You just sit there. Cautions breed cautions. You stack these guys up, they're going to run into each other. It's just unfortunate. Hopefully those guys will be able to, duck back in there, get their damage repaired, and be able to still be out there and be competitive. But, it's very interesting with these Gen 7 cars because some things that we would have never imagined doing in the Gen 6 cars, like some guys actually start off in first gear. You believe that?
Yeah, this could be a bit of an interesting one, to say the very least, if this plays out the way we think it will.
Now, does that black flag get cleared? Because if someone spins out, and you obviously be quite a few people with black flags, so that might be an admin call, maybe.
And word is that will be cleared because, the black flag for passing before the yellow. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to stay behind somebody that is, sideways facing a wall, right? It's kind of hard not to pass on that. What are you supposed to do? Just stop and wait for them to get back going? It's called a race.
Yeah, the anxiety levels got to be pretty high on these guys right now. As most of these guys have experienced either contact with each other or the wall. So now, we're not even. Hey, we can't even get going in stage 2, right? Because we keep staying under caution. So now I'm starting to wonder how this is going to start to look out because some of these guys will probably, hedging their bets on their dance partners. But as you got damage and I don't have damage, this isn't that kind of a drafting track. Plus, if you've already hit the wall, you're probably going to do it again. What are your thoughts?
It's definitely a track where damage doesn't necessarily mean that your race is over. I agree. It's not like one of those tracks where if you get a little bit of front-end damage, you're basically screwed till the end of this race. So drivers should be able to find themselves with a bit of a solid momentum coming through this one, especially guys that still have damage, and cautions like these might just be able to help them just a little bit more. Jay Hone is your race leader for the time being, and I want to really quickly see what he's thinking in the midst of all of this. Jay Hone, of course, joining us up here in the broadcast booth now, and it was a bit of an interesting call from you to stay out there at the end of that stage. What was the thought process behind that strategy call?
Well, so far I've got a real good setup that lets my tires last quite a while, so I'm going to stay out and see what I can do with them.
Do you think you might be able to fend off the pressure from the field behind and pick up a stage 2 win here?
Depends on how aggressive they are. If I can hold them back, that'd be awesome.
Well, of course, I think you're going to be going 1 to green here in just a moment, so I'll let you get back to it. Before I let you go, though, anybody you'd like to shout out for that STP Ford Mustang?
Absolutely, the ISCA, Kenny Powell, and this whole crew in here, you, Nolan, for taking care of us and doing an awesome job.
And thank you, Jay, for taking the time to join us up here in the booth, and best of luck in the rest of stage 2.
Right on. You guys take care.
That was Jay Hone, your current race leader on that interesting strategy call, and he's looking to see if maybe he can use that strategy call to his advantage, I'd imagine, later on in the race then.
Yes, we're still quite a ways from that next stage caution, but yeah, just so far, man, hopefully we'll be able to get this thing on the green, get some green flag laps in. Nobody wants to pace around all day, but I just don't think we're quite done as the lights are off on the pace car.
Pace car getting set to pull down and into pit road. And it'll be once again in the hands of Jay Hone to take this field of 20 cars strong. Make it 18 now. Back to green flag racing. Slow start from Jay Hone, but this time no struggles deeper in the field. We're back racing at the Rock.
And back racing we are. Now we're going to see if that inside line's going to be able to get that momentum that it needs. But, trouble!
Oh, no! Chris Johnson goes around. They're wrecking big time into 3 and 4. Looks like Kling got spun around. Severa got dumped as well in the middle of that one. So starting to get messy, and that was 3 GNG drivers taking each other out. And we'll take a look at the replay here. I think Johnson might have tagged the outside wall and that was what would have put us under caution number 4 of the night, and make it that also like the third one in a row where you haven't made them more than a lap. As there it was, just all 3 drivers getting them together. Wachinski got in it as well. The only drivers involved in this wreck were all from the G&G crew.
I was talking about those dance partners to get beat up. Well, it looks like that's exactly what they did. The G&G guys just effectively beat themselves up and out of this. And I was watching those G&G guys, during practice, and they were putting down some fast, consistent laps. And I was wondering to myself as a team, I was like, hey, if these guys stick around, they might be able to make something happen. But it looks like they got a little bit too close, and now there's no comfort.
A lot of drivers getting very lucky, and how about this? Chris Johnson retiring from the race. He will join the likes of Schaffner, Watson, as well as Gary Adamson. Under caution once again. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in a few.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Still under caution and just about to hit the 1 quarter mark in this race. We are on caution number 4, if I'm not mistaken here. And you had about 3 for crashes now, 2 of them back to back. And one of them was right off the back of, our stage 1 caution. And we were just put under a little while ago. So you had that one caution at 23 right out, then you had your stage caution, and then 2 others right after that. So far, since stage 1 came to a close, we've not run a single lap green.
Yeah, right now it seems like the pace car is going to be in contention for lead the most laps. We got to figure out something because, I don't think this is what we were intended to do. But now, Nolan, I don't know, man. I got 6 sets of tires, so I'm a gambler, man. I would have pitted, changed my tires, and just drove from the back like a madman to the front. I mean, what are you thinking?
I have to say, I'm a little bit with you on this one. You sometimes have to make those little choices when you have to, and at this point, you're kind of running out of a little bit of time to make this work. I mean, especially if you guys like Jay Hone and you made your strategy off of a bit of a bold call. Didn't pay off too much for Jay Hone because in that half a lap when we went green last time by, Mullins cleared him by a country mile around the outside line.
And here's the problem. Now he's on the outside line, so he's got a lot of traffic that's going to be behind him. And like we said, we saw what happened to the last guy that kind of did that. Mr. Watson, was it Joshua Watson, I believe, that did that? So, I don't know. We don't always sometimes see the best cases.
Green flag's out. We are back underway from Rockingham. Mullins has a good launch off into turn number 1. Joshua Watson following through as Adrian Watson breaks clear. Jay Hone still fighting off him over on the outside line, getting a bit tight that time by out of turn number 2. But Joshua Watson is still going to hang tough with it on the inside line. Jay Hone working the outside, and Wayne Grossi thinking about trying to go with him here at the moment. Joshua O'Connor in the 39 Toyota is going to be hanging with him around the bottom side, trying to close up and join this battle for the final podium position.
Yeah, because what happens, when you got those old tires and cold tires, they're like first cousins. So Jay Hone is definitely trying to get that thing back up to operating temperature so he can not be. Oh, we got in trouble.
Avery with a huge slide through the infield grass. The number 11 still trying to hang on to it, comes back on and manages to just hang on to the number 11 Toyota. A huge moment, though, for Don Avery, and a caution flag flies. We'll go to this replay. We'll cut back to what happened to live pictures in just a moment. There's Don Avery just losing it by himself. What a great job keeping off the inside wall. And a jump up to Robert Pattengill on this replay because it was a wreck on the back straightaway, courtesy of Al Kozlowski.
Caution, caution, caution. I think we're starting to see a trend develop here. Now here's the thing, and we kind of hit on this a little bit at the beginning of the race where, this track is drivers are going to beat themselves. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to run into the wall. They're just going to self-spin, and that's going to happen all around this thing, not just turn 2, but it's a bumpy track. It was rescanned, but it was not repaved.
So look at the Pattengill. He's the one that went for the spin, side by side with Kozlowski. Both drivers meet into the middle, and watch Pattengill 360 spin and keeps it off the inside wall. I think that was honestly a more impressive save than the one Don Avery just had. Take another look at this one here, Al, as Pattengill went through a full 360 spin and kept that thing underneath him.
Yeah, but he was definitely happy to see that caution come out because worst case scenario, he's at least going to need a new set of Goodyears and maybe even a new set of Fruit of the Loom.
That is honestly amazing that if you're able to hold on to a car like that. I mean, sometimes the car just saves itself. Watch the in-car camera here, completely blindsided, and yeah, just let the car do its own thing, really, and let it come back to itself.
Like the song says, sometimes you just got to let Jesus take the wheel.
Oh, yeah. I had a moment like that when I was testing out a Pro Mazda once over at the Summit Point Raceway over in iRacing. Got too wide on the exit curbs at the final corner. Had a 360 spin exactly like that one. Didn't have to do anything. Just held the wheel and let the car do its thing. And sometimes it's those over erratic wheel movements that just make it all worse. So sometimes the best that you can do is basically just lock it down and hope for the best. And that is exactly what Pattengill did. And it probably saved his race.
Yeah, and it's, a complete shout out to iRacing because what they've done with the tire models on this thing. There was a time ago where you wouldn't have a fighting chance if something like that were to happen, but now, drivers can actually feel a lot of that stuff happening, seat of their pants. The sim racing is so ultra realistic now, with things like butt kickers and everything else. And it allows you a fighting chance to be able to correct a spin and get back in the game.
One driver that's had a bit of an up and down stage 2 at the moment has been that of Bear Gutpool. We haven't talked to some of the guys further down the order, so let's see if we can't talk to one of them now. Barrick, you've had a bit of an up and down stage 2 so far. You've been slowly trying to claw your way back, and with every single caution, you tend to get a little bit closer. How's it looking for you at the moment out there?
Yeah, it's not looking too bad. I got 20 seconds left, so hopefully these guys wreck one more time.
One more caution. I can safely say you have at least one more yellow flag coming up, and if it's not going to be from a caution, it'll be at lap number 80. Do you have any overall goals on where you want to finish, considering your solid performance at Dega 1 week ago?
No, not really. The car definitely feels good, but I'm down on RPM, so I'll have to see how far I can get with that. But I'm not too low, but I am down a little bit, so on power. But we'll see how it plays out.
And 1 to green here, so we'll let you get back to it down there with your teammate. Before we let you go, though, anybody you'd let shit out for that shake and bake Hank Hill number 92 Mustang?
Oh, no, just Frank Flores and Robert Pattengill and Tucson Sound Duck.
And thank you for taking the time to join us up here in the booth. Best of luck in the rest of the stage.
All right, thank you.
That was Barrick Uppull, had a solid run 1 week ago at Talladega, and, well, hasn't had the best of runs so far here in this race. Sometimes it's good to get to talk to some of the other drivers further on down, kind of get see what their thoughts are. I think at the moment, Barrick's on damage control, and he's doing a good job managing that so far. He'll easily get those extra 20 seconds of repairs wrapped up under the next caution.
Yeah, especially because he's with his shake and bake teammate, Robert Pattengill. Those two are kind of right there together. They can see each other. So he's got to be happy to still be in it as we get ready to go back to green flag racing.
Once again, Mullins with a solid launch, and already Joshua Watson looking to close up to Adrian Watts just behind. Top 3 breakaway into turn number 1, and it's looking tight. A little bit further up, wrecking already back straight away. And Jayhone into the inside wall, Powell into the outside wall, no yellow flag. we stay green. And it was Hone and Powell to get together. And we'll have to take a look at that one if we can, because how that was not a yellow flag, no idea.
And we're
but
still wrecking.
are we really?
Really
We are. Mullins at the outside wall. We'll look at that in just a moment here. So focus on Kenny Powell first, the number 24. Watch Jay Hone coming around turns 1 and 2. Right there. Small little tip sends them both around. Look up to John Mullins now in the number 64. Keep on the replay because it's been, shall we say, not the most ideal of runs so far. He's fighting it out for the race lead. This was the pass for the race lead, by the way. Watson up the inside in turn 1. Right there. Sends him around. Same way. Good save, though, for the 64 to minimize the damage.
And we're still got a little battle going on for the lead as Adrian Watts is getting a little impatient behind Joshua Watson and Wayne Grassley. That 7 car, he's had some bad luck, but he's liking his view right now.
And the 2 JBR teammates looking to battle it out now. Here comes Grassi on the inside, trying to throw a charge on Adrian Watts, who is still looking to battle it out for the race lead up in front. I tell you what, I mean, you'd think we're racing for green-white checkers here the way this stage 2 has gone out so far. I mean, it has just been such a cluster of messes and battles that we've seen time and time again. I think Grassi has bailed out of this battle for the time being. Going to try to maybe follow Adrian Watts' line, but Joshua Watson starting to pull away as well. And I'll tell you what, it's been a eventful past 20 laps or so. I think nobody would complain at this point if we could run the rest of the stage out green.
Eventful is definitely the word, just like Grassie's season's been going. So it was a little bit interesting to see him kind of push the issue with Adrian Watts so early on in the racing. But now those two are in the best position right now because there's just not a lot of solid teams left out there.
One battle that is still raging on. Bear Gutpool going up against his teammate Robert Pangale into turn number 3. The battle for 12th place is on, and that will trade hands as uphill goes through, running the discount modify logo, the kind that you can go on and get at the Dollarama. Ken Allen just in behind with the number 52 Hallmark Toyota. So if he can potentially have something at all for Robert Pangale as well, who I will say this, he's had a bit of an up and down race so far. Allen having to scramble a little bit as Patco came off of the wall, while Uphold continues to work his way up and puts the JBR machine of Richard Elliott down another place.
Yeah, and it's just there's little fires everywhere on this racetrack, and a lot of, like we've been talking about, you want to try to keep your car as clean as possible. That's the key here. Try to run as many laps as possible in clean air without running into stuff. So now everybody should just be relaxing, but that relaxation time's over. So getting ready to get down to, we're 15 to go here, but in this stage. But stage points are going to be so critical. I think drivers are going to risk it for the biscuit. And
sometimes that's all you got to do, right, if you want to go for a race win or even a stage win. We've seen before just how critical stages can be in the past, ever since that was put in a few seasons ago. And now Wayne Grassi looking to see if he can get a couple of more stage points for himself. He's caught the back end of Adrian Watts, looking inside turn 3, and he'll send that 7 car, drive it in deep, but it's not going to be enough as Adrian Watts able to pull around just a bit more momentum from the outside line, but clip the wall, I think, just a touch. That allows Grassi once again to get up his inside into turn number 1, and this could be an interesting battle here. You really have to try to set these passes up. It really is a track like Martinsville. Justin behind. Don Avery is wrecking. He just got into the outside wall hard multiple times. Shoved in there by Kenny Powell, still grazing the wall all the way through 3 and 4. So they're still trying to wreck in this one. Avery had just been passed up by John Mullins as well and actually caught some air in the number 11 car when he was bouncing down the back straightaway.
It's amazing that the 7 and 8 are battling it out so hard with each other, because what they're doing is they're allowing Joshua Watson a chance to run away with this thing. If these guys could just find the same line, maybe get in line, their setup's got to be similar, and I don't think your setup is going to be optimistic running side by side.
Wayne Grassi still looking low. Adrian Watts going to be taking the outside line. And this has been a very common thing that we've been seeing even throughout the Thursday night race. You'll have the guy in behind looking to be on the inside. The guys up front on defense, they often take the top side. And that is because the outside line, when you get into these runs, has been so much better on defense. And We're seeing that play to full force here for this battle for second place. Another battle that's a bit closer, though. Battle for 7th is on. Al Kozlowski, Joshua O'Connor, and Don Avery just up the road, trying to duke it out as well with under 10 to go. Avery gets loose, and O'Connor easily finds his way up the inside into turn number 3.
Yeah, as we're coming to the end of this stage, drivers are now going to have to start making that decision. If you're going to go ahead and put the hammer down and go, give her what she's got, because those stage points, they're going to prove to be very, very critical, especially as we get on towards the end of the season. You don't understand how much a difference 8 points makes at each stage, but if you're not finishing the race and you're not in the money, you know, that those points are going to be the most crucial ones.
Well, even if you get just 8 points in each stage, it adds up quickly. That is 16 points now that someone who's not in the stages is not going to be having anymore, even before the end of this race, which is why we saw at the start of the season, right? You know, I believe it was Chris Severa and Justin Levine in the Buckkicker Cup series. They were looking very strong, and while Levine won the race, Severa had more stage points, therefore took the points lead. So it can really come down all the way to the wire. Avery blocking left and right, trying to keep Kozlowski behind him, who's going to snake inside with 6 to go.
And yeah, exactly. That's what he's doing. He's fighting for those points in that, as well as that position. You know, no one's want to give anything away. We're seeing even how much teammates are willing to do battle with each other. But now Adrian Watts is actually on the hunt. He's hunting Joshua Watson down, just trying to get himself another opportunity for yet another stage win.
So I think that would then kind of make a bit of a case here of, does he opt to battle a teammate and risk taking them both out to go for a stage 1 win and the 1 point difference? Another battle starting to pick up is 4th and 5th, just a little ways behind. That is John Mullins. Kenny Powell, who gets into the outside wall, forced up by Mullins down the front straightaway. This time, though, Powell drives it in around the outside line, taking that offensive outside line away to get the run down the back stretch. Won't be enough, though, to clear by the time they get to 3, coming to 3 to go.
Yeah, I think Adrian Watts answered your question. I mean, he just keyed the mic to say, hey, no, I'm going to put the hammer down. I don't want to battle you for positions. I want the stage win. So now he's hunting Joshua down, and we're just going to see if he's got enough time to actually make this thing interesting.
And just there, Powell, of course, had cleared John Mullins, so we look back up to our battle for the stage 1 victory. Pit road closes this time by with 2 laps to go in the stage. And now Joshua Watson looks set to come home and take a stage 2 win. Coming around 1 and 2 this next time by, and Adrian Watts has got absolutely nothing for. Wayne Grassi has dropped off the pace as well. So Joshua Watson will come through 3 and 4, and he'll be clear off the corner. He will win stage number 1, and will Kenny Powell be able to fend off John Mullins for 4th? Looks like he just will at the line, and as the battles come across, it looks like no competition for any of the other spots within the top 10.
So that's a JBR 1-2. JBR 1-2, right? Solid run for the JBR.
Solid run indeed. So 81 laps completed and about 119 left to go. Let's take another quick step away. We'll be back with stage 3 here in just a couple of moments.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Still under caution here with stage number 3. Joshua Watson, of course, your stage 2 winner at this point in time, and just managed to fend off Adrian Watts to take a stage 2 victory. We've got Joshua Watson dialed on up now, and it was a good stage win for yourself here in this one, and looking set to potentially go through and get a stage 3 victory, and in fact a race victory. How's that tracking for you so far?
It's kind of playing out pretty good for us. I didn't get a qualifying lap in. We just wanted to hang to the back and whatnot and kind of feel things out. And been slowly working our way up throughout as the race went, and just trying to pull our strategy and keep our race the way we want it going, and hopefully we can pace it out from here and keep this going.
And of course, you got your teammate Adrian Watts right behind you, and with a lot of aggressive drivers behind him, does that make you feel just a little bit safer?
Yeah, it does. I know, he's going to race me, but he's going to stay clean, and we'll work together to see what we can do. There's not much of a draft here to get away, but we can kind of get together and get away a little bit. It's always nice to be able to do that. So definitely a little comfort having him there, and hopefully me and him can kind of get a little bit of a gap here.
I know you're one to green, so I'll wrap this on up here. Before I let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out real quick for your JBR01?
Regular Motorsports, setup shop, Don Adams Act Design Studios, everybody at JBR and all my family. You guys in the booth, Kenny for putting this on. I think I got everybody.
Thank you, Josh, for taking the time to join us. Congrats on a stage 2 win. Best of luck in stage number 3.
Thank you.
And with that, coming around turn 4, and we are about to go back racing. And well, while we get to this green flag here, breaking news in the number 17 camp, technical difficulties. The number 11 camp, Don Avery, going to be tumbling out of this race due to technical difficulties as Joshua Watson takes us back to green.
And it's so good to get back to green flag racing as we start this third and final stage. This is going to be the stage where drivers are going to have to get patient now, feel that car out, let those tires come in. Don't worry about trying to go ahead and get this thing down to your, maybe 2 flag fuel stop. What do you think?
Might be a bit of an interesting run, to say the very least, when it comes to the fuel strategies. Of course, I think a one-stop is what a lot of these guys are going to be aiming for. You can go about 70 laps on a fuel run, and at the moment, there are 113 laps remaining. So I think, to me, that makes it a very easy decision, right? Run the tank dry till it's empty, and just take 4 tires and a splash and go from there.
Does that call 4 tires, though? That's the question. You think? Do you think anybody's going to gamble maybe a late fuel stop in 2 tires?
The potential is there. I'm not sure if people are going to be that brave enough to try to go forward, though. We'll have to see how that all plays out later on in this race. Battles on for second. Wayne Grossi looking for the inside of Adrian Watts. Joshua Watson still holding the race lead on the top side of the racetrack, and so far both JBR drivers really seem to be favoring that outside line by the wall.
Yeah, they got to be running similar setups, and so that's awesome. These guys, they found something that works, and I think they're gonna, like Josh said, they're gonna try to stick to their plan and not really, let anybody change that up on them. But Grassi is definitely gonna try to be aggressive because he's had some really bad luck so far this season, and the one way to turn it around for him is going to be to try to get that number 7 car up front.
Grassi having to go defensive this time, though, against John Mullins, who got a big head of steam coming up into turn number 1 and nearly able to poke around the outside of the 7 car for that 3rd position. And you're taking the ride with the number 7 for the time being. You can see him looking for the inside this time. Has the inside of Adrian Watts. The 7 car putting the hammer down. He's done waiting around. Wayne Grassi going to try to go to the front in his his number 7 machine, trying to power around the 08 Chevy in the JBR car, though he has to check up, and that is going to allow John Mullins to sweep through into 3rd.
Yeah, as those cars come around that corner there, we got another shot there with that 12 car. Looks like Jay Holmes not doing too good right now, as he's just going to continue to fall a little bit further and further behind. So kind of interesting to see how he went from being up front there after a stage with the risky tire call to now potentially not even being able to finish this thing.
And so far, you still have your top six, all in a bit of a line here, and especially 5th and 6th at the moment are looking really tight. Joshua O'Connor, Eric Kling looking feisty just in behind, and O'Connor nearly gave the bumper to Kling that last time by just as they started to separate up. Look up to 3rd for the time being as Mullins given a punt by Wayne Grassi into turn number 3. Like I said, there's a lot of drivers acting very, very aggressively out there on track. We've still got over half this race left to go.
And there's a lot of names that we're seeing here in this top 10 that we're not used to calling out. We got John Mullins here. He is making himself a very viable candidate there in that 64 Camry. Wayne Grassi, like I said, he's usually not been around this part of the season, and we got Eric King also coming on. So this is interesting to see how this thing is going. I can't wait to see how it develops a little more.
And Wayne Grassi, you can look a little bit further up, still trying to find it out for 3rd place. Wojcinski further down the order, having to keep Kanaland at bay for the 9th position on the racetrack. That pass was just completed, so Wojcinski up to P9 now, and up the road, O'Connor getting muscled wide by Kenny Powell, so the battle is on for 6th place as well, as 2 GMG drivers now keeping Joshua O'Connor in a little bit of a sandwich.
Yeah, Kenny Powell just brushed that outside wall again. Powell came out here today with not just a chip on his shoulder, but I think he came out here to try to prove that G&G car was going to do something. He's beat it to heck, but he's still out here giving her hell, so that's interesting to see as well.
Powell swept through on Joshua O'Connor, and with that, the 2 G&G drivers set to try to maybe line it up and fight an attack for the top 4, but not going to be the case as Powell looking to overtake G&G teammate up the inside, and Powell is through. Kling swinging up high, letting him through, and that will make Eric Kling now the rear gunner.
We'll run down this field here as we got Joshua Watson currently leading the way with Adrian Watts in 2nd, John Mullins in 3rd, with Wayne Grassi 4th place, Eric King 5th place, Kenny Powell 6th place, Joshua O'Connor 7th, Al Koslowski in 8th, Greg Wojcinski in 9th, Ken Agland rounds out your top 10.
As we approach that halfway point, that'll put Barrick Uphold in 11th with Robert Pattengale down in 12th. How about Richard Elliott still in 13th where he started? Really the only driver to maintain that title. The driver that still is where he started earlier on in this race. Paul Olsen is the last car on the lead lap out of 14th place. Chris Severa 9 down in 15th, so your points leader gets set to potentially lose the points lead after tonight. Brian Watson is 16th with Don Avery 17th. Jay Hone is a DNF, still out on track, though 32 laps down at 18th. Chris Johnson is your first DNF in 19th with Josh Schaffner, Gary Adamson in 20th and 21st. And with that, I want to give another shout out, of course, to Tucson Sound, our proud sponsor of the Tucson Sound Cup Series. they introduce an entirely new and enjoyable way to listen to music in your own home. Uploading to make your own images and pictures in a sound art is, well, easy as counting them right up to 3. Everyone who looks at a picture will wonder where that great sound is coming from. As somebody that has seen this in action, I can safely say that that is a very accurate statement. Single charge can and will last days and gives you the ability to go truly wireless with no power cable. Sound art looks good in any room in the house, from the front room to the back room. The speakers are powered by batteries and receive audio via a Bluetooth connection, meaning nobody will even know that the art they are looking at is actually producing the sound that they are hearing. Tucson Sound Art specializes in creating custom artwork from your personal artwork and photos. You can also choose images from their expansive collection of high-quality photos. It is the perfect gift for friends, family, and business associates. To learn more, go ahead and visit www.tucsonsoundart.com. That is www.tucsonsoundart.com. That concludes your Tucson Sound Art Midway Race break. Battles on for 7th. O'Connor getting shoved up towards the outside wall as Kozlowski pinches him in.
Yeah, I don't think he appreciated that too much. He looked like he was ready to kind of battle a little bit harder, but then he thought better of it and allowed him to go. But he's still going to continue to show his way back on the inside. I don't think he's just really ready to just let that pass just so far.
Certainly not. O'Connor looking to hunt down for the race lead. Not the race lead, excuse me, the battle for 7th place, but he's got to worry about Wachinski just behind, who has been steadily trying to close in the gap as well.
Yeah, as well. And, let's talk about Tavera. Tavera is currently a lap down. He's 9 laps down, so that's really, that can't be good for that kid. That's got to be something that they're not wanting to deal with right now, you think?
I have to say, I kind of agree with you on this one. I mean, when you come to these battles, you have to really pick and choose, and when you still got almost 100 laps to go, sometimes it might be better to just let 1 or 2 go, right? I mean, no point in tearing your car up, especially if you know you got a more of a long-run car anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what we're getting ready to find out. Like Joshua Watson was saying, their car was kind of set up better for the long run, and that looks like what they're going to be doing. It looks like him and Adrian Watson are going to just kind of try to stretch their legs out on this thing a little bit and maybe even Murray up for pit strategies, you think? It's still a little early for that, but yeah, we definitely have to start thinking, if this thing could go green, that would be totally amazing.
Absolutely, and I mean, the longer we go on, the more likely it is this race will go green to the end. Now, Stage 3, of course, had quite a few of those longer green flag runs in the Thursday night race, and so far, looks like we're set to have a bit of a longer run here in Stage number 3 in the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series for this Saturday Night Cup Series as well. With 90 laps to go, we are continuing to get closer and closer to when pit window is opening up, but honestly, considering you can only go about 69 laps on the fuel tank, I'm not expecting pit window to open up for at least another 20 laps or so.
Yeah, and so that's interesting because some of these guys might not be saving their tires as well as they should be. Does that make sense? Some guys are going to burn them down. Some guys are just going to, if you look at the different lines these guys are taking, that's really going to show itself as these green flag laps continue. Something we didn't really get a chance. We didn't really get to experience a long green flag run in Stage 2, but now we're out here, and for the guys who hadn't put a lot of laps down, they're going to find out that car is going to start to handle distinctively different. So it's going to be interesting to see who has the best line, which one's going to yield the least tire wear, and how these guys are going to be able to keep consistent lap times as we continue to moor this thing on down here in Stage 3.
So at this point in time, I have to wonder, what do you think if you're one of these drivers in the car, right? Are you still with that mindset of if you see an opportunity, you have to go for it, or are you in more of a conservative mindset at this point in time? Maybe play the cards here a bit closer to the chest, maybe back off just a little bit. We know we have some guys in this field that are great at conserving tires. You also have drivers like Bear Gutbull that are on recovery drives that are having so many issues earlier on in this race. Do you think you're ready to go back and continue to take a few extra risks, even though we're in that second half of the race at this point in time with so much time left to go?
This track is just it's not a track to take those risks at this point, because there's one slight slip and then your car's going to be beat up. So you if you have made it this far, if you're one of the lucky ones unscathed, you're really respectful of the track and the fact that you can go from being hero to zero real quick here at the Rock.
Al Kozlowski under fire from Joshua O'Connor. O'Connor's going to find his way through, so Joshua O'Connor continues to kind of work on his runs a little bit more. That was the battle for 8th place as Ravichinsky found his way through. Severa trying to find his way through Al Kozlowski. There you see some of the shake and bake drivers running 10th and 11th at the time being. Pat Gill trying to keep Ken Ayland and Richard Elliott behind him. Pat Gill has moved up, I believe, just about, I would think, 3rd most spots so far our race, plus 10 where he started today, which was stone dead last. The driver that has gained the most is actually Joshua Watson, 16th to 1st on the grid.
And Severa, even though his car is beat up, he is actually running kind of consistent lap times, even consistent with the leaders. So, even though they are a long ways down, guys are going to start to think at the end of this thing, you ask that question, do you not drive it as hard? Do you let a guy go? That's points. That's what that equals. So I think you got to be as aggressive as you can without being reckless at this point in the game.
Coming to 80 laps to go in just 2 laps time, and that will make it about 10 laps before that pit window opens up properly, at which point you'll be able to make it to the end. However, it's Jay Home already into pit road, though he is 33 laps down. And I believe out of the car and potentially out of this race as well, finally throwing in the towel. So Joshua Watson continues to pull with the race lead. He's got Adrian Watts in tow. They are now, the two of them combined, about 3 seconds clear of John Mullins, just in behind for 3rd place. So JBR, I think for once, they finally found the track that works for them, and they're able to actually dominate a race at this point when they get up in front.
Yes, Brian Watson finds himself on pit road a little bit out of schedule as well. Probably either repairing damage, maybe getting some tires at this point. Really nothing that they're going to gain by continuing to run out there. They find themselves some 12 laps down. But yeah, here we go, man. And this is the time. This is where now you're starting to see that window. You're starting to see that pit window. The pit crew, the crew chief, they're telling you, hey, this is about where we're at. And pit road, though. This is one of those tracks. It's a long pit road. It's a slow speed. You can really screw yourself up if you either enter too quick or go too fast.
And you saw as well, just on a lap ago, Powell outside wall, look out, into the infield, the 24 car sliding around and into the inside wall, rebounding out from the track, heads up, will that be a caution? Do not think it will. So no caution, we stay green. Powell has now lost so much time. We'll take a look at that real quick. I just wanted to also point out that lead has changed. Joshua Watson stayed up high in 3 and 4 a lap ago and allowed Adrian Watts through. But let's take a look at this one. Just pushing too aggressively on corner exit, and that sent Powell into the outside wall and sliding into the infield.
Yeah, this just got to be a disheartening gut punch for him, man. He can't get out of his own way tonight. I don't know what's going on. That G&G team's not really, they're not putting up too good of numbers here this evening, right?
They really are. I mean, they have been directly involved, if not the cause, of a majority of our cautions this race so far, save for one when it comes to cautions resulting in a crash. I mean, it's hasn't been a good run for G&G at all. I mean, they had such a solid performance in the Thursday night race. You wonder how it goes so wrong then, just 3 days later.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As one of them finds himself laps down, and 2 of them find themselves on pit road. So, yeah, just a bad night for G&G.
Man. And as we get a bit closer now, just 5 laps before pit window will open. That being said, drivers could still go, I'd reckon, about 25 more laps on the fuel. So who do you think is going to stretch it out to the end of the fuel run? And who do you think is going to instead opt to potentially come in early to just go to the end from there?
Nolan, I don't think it's going to be about fuel. I think that the longer we go under green, the greater propensity for these guys to actually lose traction as we see Paul Olsen into the wall. I think what's going to happen is as these tires start to fall off, drivers are going to find themselves bouncing off of that wall, and that might even cause not only premature trips to pit road, but even more lengthier trips there to get damage repaired.
I honestly have to kind of agree with you on that one, and all of this while both JBR cars have just continued to blitz away up in front for the race lead, and Joshua Watson still most spots gained out of anybody today, plus 14 on the day for where he started all the way down in 16th place. Adrian Watson, you can see now back in the race lead where he originally started. Now, do you think that was a strategy call to let Adrian Watson back in front? Because I want to point out, since they made that swap, they've pulled another 2 seconds over the field in about 20 laps.
No, I think Adrian's feeling himself. I think these guys, they set their car up for the long run, and I think they're just going to show the way now. You know, they're going to let their legs stretch out, and from a team perspective, there's really not anybody else to contend against them. I mean, they got a solid 1-2 shot here, and it's theirs to lose.
Still a quarter of a second separating your top 2 for the time being, and they are catching up to some lap traffic. Brian Watson just came down pit road that last time by. We're now in that range where drivers can start thinking about coming down to pit road, and they'd be good to go to the end on fuel. So a top 2 breakaway by about 5 seconds, and where have we seen this before? Talk about Thursday night when Chris Severa lapped all the way up to about the 6th position, if I'm remembering this correctly, and it ended up being a solid run for Severa. We'll have to see if that is still going to be the case, though, for guys like Adrian Watts, who still have a long way to go. And it's not an easy track, right? It only is going to take that one little mistake to completely destroy that lead.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, here it is, and this is what you want. This is what you know. These are the things that you rehearse. You and your teammate taking this thing all the way to the end. That's what everybody wants to see. So, as we go through this thing, I think their setup is pretty spot on, and the advantage they're going to have with that is I think it's going to allow them to run a little bit longer, a little bit faster. So right now they're faster than everybody else. The probability of somebody else, the longer they stay out running into the wall, is something that we really truly have to consider, because I don't know if we might actually even make it all the way through green flag pit stops. Did you guys have any late stage cautions on Thursday night?
I believe there was 1 or 2 mid stage. I can't say it was terribly eventful other than that. There were a few cautions, I believe, mid-stage that they kind of shook up the running order, but that was after the green flag pit stops had cycled through, interestingly enough. So with all of this said and done, we still continue to eagerly await drivers on pit road, and well, looks like some guys already looking to take that as Barrick pulled Robert Pattengill, Paul Olsen, all down and in for service. Now 1 lap down, so the entire Shake and Bake crew is in, leaving 9 drivers on the lead lap for the time being. So a few more drivers opting to come on down and take service here, Al. Caution flies, and that is great news for the Shake and Bake crew and for everybody else in the field. Joshua O'Connor getting spun around back straightaway.
I think somebody just said that.
We'll take a look through this one, and back straightaway Oh, just got loose by himself. It's that bump out of turn number 2. We talked about it so much in the Thursday night race. It caught so many people out, and catching out another one here on Saturday night.
Now you're just looking at that guy in front of you, and you're watching this line, and you're trying to wait to make your move, and the next thing you know, the butt end of your car's coming around, and the view changes. So yeah, unfortunate for him, but maybe they didn't suffer a lot of damage to be able to get this thing back in there and still stay in contention, hopefully. But that caution is going to change a lot of things. Well, of course, the leaders will probably come in, and the other guys will get the wave around, but definitely now it gets even more interesting.
With everybody coming on down to pit road, this is going to definitely make pit strategies a lot easier. And you know why, Al? It eliminates them altogether. Just go hard to the end from here if there's no more cautions, because you can make it to the end on fuel.
Yeah, but you might not make it on tires.
Oh, a lot of people are stretching to the end of the fuel run on the Thursday night race. So I think a lot of people are kind of weighing the options of how much tire life is actually worth to pit mid-fuel run. And I think a majority of people were actually saying it was worth more to just stay out to the end of the fuel run, because otherwise you come down, you're losing at least a lap, maybe 2, depending on how long you're in the pit stops for.
Yeah, green flag pit stops, That's the key phrase.
With all of this said and done, why don't we take a quick step away? With 60 laps remaining, we'll be back in a few.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
And still pacing here from the Rockingham Speedway. I believe will be 1 degree in this time by. And you look down at some of the guys throughout this field, and some big news up in front. Barrick Uphold and Robert Pattengale unable to get their laps back, Brian. So that's going to leave just 10 cars on the lead lap for this restart.
That's going to be really exciting, Brian.
So, as we get set to go back green flag racing from the Cheerwine 200, it's AJ Watts in the lead. Joshua Watts beside him in second place. They had a 6-second gap up to the field behind. Like I was talking about, though, one mistake from anybody, that lead gets neutralized. And now that everybody's on the same footing when it comes to rubber and fuel, we'll see just what some of these guys will be able to make up in the front of this thing, and if anybody can contend with the JBR 1-2 so far.
Well, you can believe one thing. I mean, if I'm in this pack right here and I'm unscathed, I am going to put the hammer down, and you will see 3 wide on this restart, I promise you, because it's going to be about track position.
Green flag drops, both JBR cars coordinating beautifully up in front. They leave the 95 of Eric Kling in the dust as they funnel through 1 and 2 for the 143rd time today. Fanning now way in behind. Avery clipped the wall out of 2, and he's going to lose 5 spots as he himself. Richard Elliott, you can see on the outside line, just behind Joshua Connor. He loses out to John Mullins as well, and now Don Avery.
Yeah, Richard Elliott, just another victim falling, another driver falling victim to that wall. It has no friends, and it will affect your race as we're getting ready to go. 57 laps to go till we get this thing going over. Now, drivers are going to be starting to try to line up, but they're going to be fighting for position probably stronger and harder than they have all night, because track position, you can't let those leaders get that lead back out there again. You're never going to reel them in. So these guys are going to let it hang out of here a little bit. What do you think?
I kind of agree with you on that one. We might want to just hang it out there a little bit, kind of let things that's just happened up in front and let people battle it out, especially when you look further down the order, especially to teams that don't seem really be willing to work together at a track like this. So the likes of, even G&G with Al Kozlowski just passed up Greg Wyszynski further down for 5th place. I mean, that being said, it's not really a teamwork type of track, is it? I mean, you can have one driver that just kind of parks it in the middle of the track and acts as a rear gunner to take away runs, but it's not like you can draft each other to help each other out here.
This isn't really a drafted track, but we did see that even with Grassy and Watts, Watts was actually able to run a little bit of a buffer game there, which allowed Watts to kind of, lead unmolested, I guess you would say. So drivers can work together like that. Those are things where you can find yourself being a little bit of a benefit as opposed to losing.
So as this field continues to single file out and we continue to get this field a little bit sore towards the end of this race, we get set to enter the final quarter of this race here tonight. And you see guys still battling up and down the order, likes of Barrick Uphold still looking to make up some ground as Uphold punches his ticket further up into the top 10 now and up to 9th place. O'Connor falling down to 9th place as Barrick Uphold, correction on that one, still 1 lap down as Richard Elliott now going to find his way around the outside of Joshua O'Connor as O'Connor had clipped the wall that last time by out of turn 2. So you have more struggles, and a lot of them seem to be stemming from that dreaded turn 2 wall.
So now, as we look at the battle here that's going to be going on between Grassy and Kling, I'm just wondering how patient Grassy's going to be back there following Kling. Grassy is, in my opinion, he believes this is due. So, to the rookie here and him, it's going to be interesting to see how this battle plays out.
Still watching Grassy trying to close up on Eric Kling for that final crucial podium position, which could find himself with some solid points. Exits tonight's race, Eric Kling scraping up towards that outside wall. Kling's trying to get off to a good start, right? Because he is in his first start so far this season. Technically, still not out of the championship hunt if he continues to come back on a regular basis. But that being said, he would have to be very, very strong in all of the races going forward, and he'd have to put forward performances like we've seen from him here tonight.
And he's going to have to survive that wrath of Grassy. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard to keep Grassy off that podium. He wants to get up there. He wants he wants to be interviewed. He wants to talk to Big Al. That's what's going on right now.
This time, up the inside line of turn number 4. And alongside now with Eric Kling. Has to do this quick, though. Al Kozlowski's looking hungry behind, thinking about 3 wide. No room, though, for the 88 Speedway Angels gas and go machine to find his way in. Coming off the wall. Look out. Don't hook the 7. And Wayne Grossi at the end going to have to back out. That lets Kling go. And now we'll lose the spot. Oh, he gets into the wall and takes Grossi out. Mullins goes with him. And a big crash on the front straightaway. Al Kozlowski tagged the wall and wiped out both Mullins and Grossi in the process.
Grossi has just got to be hating his luck right now. We were just talking about this team not being able to get out of their own way, and then all of a sudden he gets taken out like that. This caution right here, it changes a lot because we just took 3 contenders off for the lead lap. So now this thing gets even more of a scarce field. So, now I think with that 1 and 2 out front there with Watson and Watts, it's going to be really theirs to lose.
On board with Kozlowski, trying to get the run on Grassi off of the corner, just too wide, and as soon as you hit that wall, it sucks you in. There's just nothing you can do in that type of a situation. That's going to send the 88 car falling back, and it's unfortunate to see Kozlowski with yet more damage on that Chrome 88 machine, and once again, it'll be Adrian Watson, Joshua Watson looking to be having a solid run up in front, but once again, a good lead neutralized.
Yeah, well, this race definitely has not disappointed. If it's been anything, it has been exciting.
It's a bit of an understatement, to be completely frank with you.
Yeah, I think we might have to bring the pit car in and change the tires on it. You know, maybe even gas it up a little bit. He's been out there for quite a bit tonight.
Under caution, yet once again at the Rock. Why don't we take a quick step away, and we'll be back in a few. Still under this caution period, well into the final quarter now of this race. And this is all about to get kicked off into high gear, right, Al? I mean, you got yourself a lot of cars in damage, 8 total cautions on the night, but you still have Adrian Watts and Josh Watson, the 1-2. And so far, nobody has been able to contend with them up in front. And they're about to get another teammate to make it a 1-2-3 in the form of Richard Elliott, who's been slowly crawling his way back up through the field.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be quite a scene for those guys over there? I bet they would really love that, a 1-2-3. I mean, the JBR guys, they couldn't ask for a better setup. I guess those guys just really been good boys this week. Maybe the G&G guys want to take a play from their playbook. You know, eat all their vegetables, be nice to old people. You know, because it seems like right now the JBR crew's getting all of their prayers answered.
With one lap to go before we go back green flag racing, I think the question is there anybody that can contend with that JBR duo up in front? I mean, they have just been unstoppable today ever since they broke out in front. And if they can stay close to each other, how long is it going to be before they start to battle it out for a race win?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know, but like you said, Richard Elliott's also coming right back up in there, and he's one of their teammates. His car's got a little bit of damage, but it'll be interesting to see how this thing all shakes itself out. If there's anybody else out there that could even possibly make a run for this thing.
Green flag's back out, and talk about a launch from Adrian Watts. Caught Eric Kling napping on the start and was clear by 4 car lengths by the time they got to start finish. Kling is closing in on the back of Joshua Watson, trying to apply whatever pressure he can and looking for the inside line. So far, remember, the top 4 didn't come in a pit under that last caution. Wachinski, the first right French rubber. Look out as Kling forces Watson up to the outside wall.
Yeah, Watson's car is going to probably continue to be as wide as he wants it to be, because he's not just going to roll over and let Kling get by him. He is going to make him earn that position if he wants it. Plus, you still got to make sure you have that other teammate coming up, Richard Elliott. He's falling back to 5th place, but this battle for the lead here, it's going to start with 2nd place.
Looks like the JBR 1-2 domination might come to an end here if Eric Kling can sort himself out, but he's still fighting the inside line, and it is not working for him. We have seen this time and time again. JBR has been ripping the outside line. If Kling has any doubts about that inside line, he has to migrate up, take a page out of their playbook, and try to utilize that outside line 100% to his own advantage. You're under 40 laps to go. You have no time anymore to just run around and just play it safe if you wanted to go for a race win, especially if you're as far back as Kling is at the moment.
Yeah, this is definitely time that you're going to have to go ahead and eat. Everybody's got to roll their sleeves up. At this point in the race, this is not time to come up with a strategy. You know, you got your strategy now. It's time to act. It's go time, baby. Let's go.
And even further down the order, I'm watching at the moment Ken Allen trying to close up to Richard Elliott, who only slipped backwards on this race start, as he's been trying to see if he can potentially close on up to Richard Elliott. Ken Allen trying to get this battle done and sorted. Wayne Grossi also just in the mix, trying to see if he can throw his hat into the ring, but Elliott pulls away from Allen that last time by out of turn number 2. It is so difficult to pass here, right? You need to set these passes up laps in advance. You cannot just send it into the corners. We've seen what that has done before in this race. It usually results with one, if not both of you, hard into the outside wall.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to just do it in one turn, but it's not going to have favorable results. This is more like dirt track passing, if you know what I mean. You really kind of got to set it up, and you got to not only see where your car is at, but you got to be able to visualize where it's going to go. You know, and one bump on this thing, and that's going to change the trajectory, an immense deal. So as Grassie's going to continue to try to fight. I've been looking at his lap times, and surprisingly, he's not really falling off a whole lot. So although he might have been involved in that incident.
Oh boy! 3 wide with a lap car up the middle. Severa working on a charge, and Elliott bounced off the wall. Sorry to cut you off there, Al, but that got all sorts of hairy, and Kozlowski might not be the happiest of campers about that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to appreciate that at all. You know, at one point, if you're battling for position, that's one thing, but 3 wide from a lap car, you know, no one wants to sign that Christmas card.
This could prove to be a very decisive moment in this battle for the top 5 here. Wayne Gross can just close up a little bit more to Ken Allen. One driver that has managed to break free from 4th place has been Greg Wachinski. Now, he is on fresher tire by about 17-ish laps or so. It's not the biggest of margins, especially with these cars where tire wear isn't as big of a factor as it used to be. That being said, lap times are still about half a tenth to a full tenth quicker than the top 2 every lap consistently.
And he is currently setting the pace. So, you know, as you said, that there is a period of time when where new tires are going to be faster. You know, is Wachinski going to be able to save enough that he'll actually be able to be faster longer? It's going to be the question. Because catching those guys is one thing, but he's still going to have to pass them. I mean, even though he's in 3rd place, he's still going to have to go. He's still going to have to pass him.
The gap is down to just 2 seconds, and it is continuing to close. Could Wachinski get yet another race win? We do not see that number 5 car in victory lane all too often, but with the pace he is setting at the moment now, he's got the pace to go for a race win tonight, and he is on the hunt with Joshua Watson deep in his sights.
Oh, definitely. Watson does not want to see this guy in his rearview mirror. Neither does Watson. But you know, the bottom line is, like I say, he's still going to have to catch him. But when he catches him, he's going to have to pass him. And that's the key thing to this. This is not an easy track to pass at. And at this stage in the competition, nobody, I mean, like even teammates aren't going to be so happy as to say, hey, yeah, come on and go by me. Tempers are going to start to flare. Guys have been beating and banging in these cars now for a couple hours. And yeah, I think it's that time where we're just going to have to start to see a little bit more intensity, I think.
This time by 3 and 4, can he get it done? Pulls alongside and has the run out of turn 4 down the front straightaway, forcing Watson up, nearly dooring him up to the wall as Wachinski tries to hold the bottom side and make this work. But Watson has been great on defense, and he is just going to be able to keep Wachinski at bay. And this is providing crucial tenths of a second for Adrian Watts' JBR teammate up the road as they start to fall back outside of 2 seconds. Wachinski's getting impatient, looking to continue to shove him up. The gap back down to 2.1 seconds, and every lap that Wachinski spends stuck side by side, he loses that much more time. He's going to have to put that much more work in closing in for the race lead. But I think this time by, Wachinski's got him done out of 4.
Oh, but it's not over. You got to believe that Watson is not going to just let that go. He's going to give everything he's got to come back in there and try to force his issue. I mean, he new tires, he's going to wear him out, but he's going to make him use this stuff up. No, when he gets done with this battle, he's definitely going to know that Watson was there.
The only problem is the fact that Watson can't defend nearly as or go on defensive nearly as effectively because of Wachinski's fresher tires. You can already see starting to drop back as a result of Wachinski's closed that gap back down to 2.1 seconds. And with 29 laps to go, he would have to close by about 1/10 every single lap. It's not over yet, but I wonder if that great defense from Joshua Watson might have just been enough to keep Wachinski at bay.
It would have been an equalizer if nothing else, because like I said, Wachinski didn't just get to roll in there and just have his way with him. And so now, you know, you come into a situation where Adrian Watts just had the fastest lap of the race. So we'll see if Wachinski still is, you know, has the advantage on those fresher tires. But I think it might have waned. I think it might be gone. I think he had to fight Watson, and it was just, like I said, it was a little bit of an equalizer.
Last time by, Wachinski about dead even with Adrian Watts on lap times. The gap 2.2. At this point in time, I have to think that he is not closing in enough to get that position. This is a critical spot for Wachinski at the moment, and he tags the wall in the 1, but last time slower than Adrian Watts. That defense from Watson might have just won Watts this race.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he suffered as well, but he did just tote the water for his teammate, if you will. Great racing. He was totally clean, and he gave Watts just what he needed. I believe Watts is just going to be able to keep the distance, and I don't see Wachinski being able to close that at this stage, barring some late penalty or caution.
So at the moment, the car is still on the lead lap are Watts, Wachinski, Watson, Klein, Grossi, Kozlowski, Ayland, Elliott, Uphold, and O'Connor. Just the top 10. Everybody else at least 2 laps down, if not more. Patton Gill, of course, among those drivers that is laps down. And you can see Paul Olsen still slow off the pace. He's on the inside line. To this point, Paul Olsen still 2 laps down. The first car laps down, and the Lucky Dog driver, conveniently enough. You're looking at the moment at Joshua O'Connor trying to close up to Kenny Powell, but of course Powell 6 laps down. So that is not a battle for position. The closest driver to him, well, I have to say, it's actually some ways back.
Well, yeah, but the good news is the top 10 points pay, right? So if you're in the top 10 of this thing, congratulations, you're in the top 10. You stayed on the lead lap, and you got your points. So, I mean, that's where you want to be. You want to finish good and finish strong. So if you look at where some of these guys started, you know, like, look, Grossi starting at 17th, Watson starting in 16th, and these guys making their way all the way up. Those are good point days for those.
Oh, absolutely. It has been a phenomenal points day for a lot of these guys out here in the field that we don't typically see running up at the front too often. And at the moment, you're looking at the closest battle we have on the racetrack. It's the battle for the final spot inside the top 5. Rossi v. Kozlowski v. Ayland. All 3 cars under a blanket. Kozlowski looking high, and this is going to be a rather interesting run here for these guys. And will Kozlowski be able to look to the outside line, potentially to get around Wayne Grossi. Not sure if he'll quite be able to have this spot said and done. Ken Allen still looking to get a spot up as well in behind. You can see not a very healthy looking number 88 machine, but hey, it's chugging in there, and it still has the pace for a top 5 finish, which you wouldn't believe it if I told you just by looking at the car at first glance.
Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover and don't judge a car by its bumper. But Grossi is still going to have to defend this position. I mean, like, that car's beat up, but the race isn't over. So, I mean, here we are. This is the last thing he wants to see, but yeah, we're still going to get racy.
And Kozlowski through on Wayne Grossi through turn 3 and 4 on lap 188. And that will push Al Kozlowski into the top 5. And honestly, I think that would be one of the most impressive drives out of anybody I've seen so far today, right? I mean, he has been sliding backwards, but being collected in so many incidents, and yet somehow manages to always fight his way back and finish in, or at least find himself fighting for top 5 spots. And now, even pulling away from Grossi, I think that just shows just how much pace that 88 car can still have underneath it. I mean, that is pure determination right there.
Yeah, that and the fact that half of his cars probably already made it to the recycle bin. You just got to applaud the effort, though. And to be passed by a car that looks like that, that's got to be a little disheartening, don't you think?
I know. I mean, it was like you get passed by a car that's got not just no front clip, but no rear clip as well. And it's found itself even laps down early in this race. I mean, and on top of that, your car may as well be fresh under the hauler in comparison.
Yeah, not a lot that they're going to have to take home. But, hey, the interesting thing about this is we come just under 10 to go. That guess who's leading the way? Adrian Watts. And so far, you know, as he starts to make his way, maybe with some lap traffic before this thing's over, but there's really nothing in between him and that flag where, you know, he's probably not hoping that a caution comes out, but everybody's tires should be good, and Watts he should just be able to do his thing and lead the way.
And so Ken Allen now trying to line up a pass around Wayne Grossi with under 10 laps to go. Will Grossi fall back to the 7th position? This is where it could potentially all come to a head. And at the moment, this is really the only battle we're looking at to see if we will have a potential wreck in the final stages, as well as that second place under fire. Brett Wachinski having to defend against Joshua Watson, who almost hooked him on the front straightaway this time by. Didn't even realize that Watson had closed up the pace. I think Wachinski's burned his stuff up. Watson as well, though, as he got loose out of 2.
Yeah, you know, what we talk about, you have to set those passes up laps in advance. So once he saw that Wachinski had went by him, you know, he's just kind of been back there at this point, biding his time, just watching his line, waiting to make that move, because, you know, he still wants to get that at JBR 1 and 2.
That JBR 1-2 could prove valuable for them in the Teams Championship. How about Ken Allen up the inside of Wayne Grossi this time by, and will he complete this one through 3 and 4? Grossi still fighting the outside line, coming to 5 laps to go for this little battle here, and so far, Grossi has been doing a phenomenal job on defense. Allen too deep, and he's going to have to back out. Now look at Richard Elliott throwing his hat in the ring. He wants to try to get another 2 spots before this race is over.
Yeah, and even if he's just got to wait and watch those two take each other out, I think he'll take those points any way he can get them, because that's just going to help that JBR team in the team points just even more, as he is that third team member for those guys up front.
And now watch the 52 car up the track, and Richard Elliott going to be going with him. And Elliott's going to have to bail out of that one. Can't go for the move just yet. 3 laps to go this time by for your battles, and it's all starting to come to a head, right? I mean, we are at the conclusion of this race. If Elliott wants these spots, got to make that move now. Outside line for the 0-2. He'll take 1 on Allen and trying to... Oh, he's going to be hitting the wall, and that's going to kill his momentum.
that will just take all the wind out of your sail, as that 52 car still going to continue to battle that 7 for that position. But don't think that car is going to be out of it. I think this right here is going to prove to be the most exciting race on the track right now. So we go 2 to go, and Adrian Watts is leading this thing around once again.
Coming to 1 to go this time by, and Adrian Watts now rounding this circuit for the final time today. And it has been a solid run for Adrian Watts, and he will be coming around turns 3 and 4. Watts will win the Cheerwine 200. Wachinski holds on for second. But how is this battle going to play out for 6th, 7th, and 8th? Glassy still defending against Ken Allen into turn 3. Elliott's trying to look high to get one more run, but it's going to be too little too late. Grossi will hang on to 6th.
Now that was an exciting race as Adrian Watts takes first place. Greg Wachinski comes in at second. Joshua Watson coming in at third. Eric Kling, fourth place. Al Koslowski, fifth place. Wayne Grossi, sixth. Ken Aland coming in seventh. Richard Elliott coming in eighth. Joshua O'Connor comes in ninth. And Barrick Uphold completes your top 10.
And rounding out your field is going to be cars that only finish laps down. Paul Olson is 11th with Kenny Powell 12th. Chris Severa, what an unfortunate run for him in 13th, set to potentially lose the points lead after tonight despite having a 27-point gap. Don Avery is 24th. Watson is 15th with John Mullen 16th. Pat Gill 17th with Jay Hone 18th. Chris Johnson, Josh Schaffner, Gary Adamson. Round out your 21-car field here from the Rockingham Speedway. Let's take a quick step away. We'll be back in just a few moments.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
And welcome back here to the Cheerwine 200 and at the Rockingham Speedway. And as we get set to round out tonight's race, we'll see if we can title some of the drivers. And, well, we don't have your first and third place finishers just yet. We'll talk to them in just a second. So for now, I'll pass it on down to you, Al. You're standing by with our second place finisher, Greg Wachinski.
Hey, Greg, this is Big Al up in the booth. How you doing tonight, sir? Congrats on that second place finish.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So what were your thoughts there when you were looking at having to go past these two guys here and trying to get past Watson there? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I had pitted on that last caution, and I took my last set of tires. Yeah. And I was in good shape, but I mean, there wasn't that many laps on the tires at that point, so I kind of burned them up. I was racing the car really hard there, that last 30 laps or whatever it was, and once I got past Joshua, I didn't have anything left. I was doing everything I could to keep second, to keep him from passing me for second at that point. So, but it was fun. It was a good race. Adrian was really fast. Congratulations to him. Joshua did. There was a lot of good cars that didn't make it anywhere near the finish line. There was a lot of wrecks, but it was a good race.
Yeah, a lot of attrition. What are your takeaways here from this track? Anything that you could actually apply next week as we get ready to head to Texas?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anything here applies to Texas. I mean, this is a tough track. I mean, it's everybody's racing hard. These cars, I mean, you can just drive them really hard all the time, and sometimes you get races like that where people start getting into each other. But
All right, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to here for us tonight?
well, of course, the great Rob Melnick, because without him, none of this would be possible. But you and Nolan, you guys do a great job. Thanks to Kenny, who puts all this on. Chris Johnson, all of Chris Severa, Al, all those guys at G&G Racing. We have a lot of fun. We do a good job with the setups every week. That's it.
Yeah, seems like you and your G&G teammates were trying to kind of take each other out there a little bit early on. But hey, way to go! You pulled this thing out here. You got a strong second place finish, man. Thank you for your time, and you have a good evening, sir.
You guys do the same thing.
And well, going to move on down to the first place finishing now, standing by in victory lane is the man that got it all done. Adrian Watts comes home with a 4.4 second lead over Greg Wachinski. And you started pole, fell a bit further down the order. You fight back, though, and put that car on victory lane. How does it feel?
Oh, it feels awesome.
Well, talk us through your races so far tonight, because you had a bit of an up-and-down race, just like everybody throughout this event did. What do you think were some of the moments that led to you being able to take that race win away?
I started out pretty quick, and I told my teammates to kind of reel me back in because I've been burning them up all week. So when Kenny and them got around me, I kind of yelled at them and was like, hey, y'all tell me to slow down. And so that kind of worked out. And like Greg said, a lot of fast cars got taken out. So every time a wreck happened, I was yelling, I was like, who was that? And it just made it seem a little better at the end because a lot of fast people weren't there to challenge me.
Of course, Texas Motor Speedway coming up in just 1 week's time. You've proven that you're able to put that JBR machine up there in victory lane. Do you plan to do it again next week?
Oh, absolutely. If I can make it next week, I'll be there, and it's going to be one heck of a show.
Before I let you go, then, Adrian, anybody that you would like to shout out for that JBR 08?
Everybody that makes ISCA work, thank all y'all. My teammates, Joshua especially, he brought me on a long time ago when I first started racing, and I wouldn't be here without him. And just Ryko for the awesome setups, DA Design for the paint scheme, and the rest of the JBR.
Thank you, Adrian Watts, for being able to join us out here tonight, and hopefully we'll be seeing you in the future once again in victory lane.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
And that will bring us down to the third and final finisher, Joshua Watson. Most spots gained from the night, plus 13 on the night for you, 16th all the way up to third place. That's got to feel mighty good for you, especially when you were able to provide that rear gunner support for your teammate in that final laps.
How about that, my man Adrian getting the win? I'm so proud of him. He's been at this for a while now, and be able to see him get up there and win is great. It's great for the team and everything, and we were fairly happy with tonight's run. Wish we could have got the 1-2, but let's kind of start off in the back, and we've been unfortunately fighting the COVID all week. So we were just starting at the back and trying to feel things out and seeing how we were going to feel as the race went on, and was able to climb up through there and get up to the front and be able to lead it with him and pull away at times. And it was nice just to be able to see him get out there and pull away. And I see Greg coming. That last pit stop, we debated on pitting or not, and we figured staying out was going to be our best bet. We didn't want to get too far back in traffic or anything. So once I seen Greg coming, I knew I was going to have to defend him a little bit and let Adrian kind of stretch that lead out and hope that Greg wore his tires up trying to battle with me. And I think that's what kind of helped him out and kind of got Greg a little bit, was able to pinch him down there. But overall, it was a great day, a 1, 3, and 8, I think Richard finished. So overall, a great day for our team and a good, fun track to be at.
Of course, it is the first time in at least the Saturday Night Cup Series that we have seen this low downforce, high horsepower package in play. What's your thoughts on it in comparison to the high downforce, low horsepower package?
I can't wait till they switch to the high horsepower, smaller spoiler, lower downforce package. I think it makes these cars a lot more fun to drive when you're slipping and sliding. It puts a lot of it right back in the driver's hands. You're no longer aero dependent. You know, you got to do the mechanical grip, and the driver's got to be able to wheel these things around the track, which is what you had to do here tonight. You know, it's a very bumpy track. Inside line worked. Outside was kind of the more dominant lane tonight, especially for our cars and our setup. We kind of set up the run up there because we figured a lot of people would try to run the bottom to middle. So we wanted to kind of be up where nobody else was, and it worked out for us.
And of course, Texas Motor Speedway coming up in just 1 week's time. We go back to the 1.5 miles, but a very unique one at that. What's your thoughts as we swing down to Fort Worth?
I love Texas. That's always been one of my favorite tracks to go to, especially since the repave. It's really changed it up. We're going to be the low horsepower, high downforce package, so it's going to be a good pack racing. I think you can get 2 lines to work there just as well, so we'll see how it goes. But looking forward to it, and looking forward to keeping this momentum up for our team, and hopefully getting Adrian up there a little bit higher in the points.
And of course, before we let you go, then Joshua, who'd you like to shout out for that JBR-01?
Ryko Motorsports Setup Shop. Working with Ken and Brad and all them. It's been a blast and a pleasure and an honor to work with them. And Don Adamczak from DA Design Studios, who does all the paint schemes for all of our cars. Virginia Volunteer Fire Department, where Adrian volunteers at. It's nice to have them on the car and to be able to have a what's the word I'm looking for? One of our service partners and members, and to be able to represent them is a big honor, and especially with Adrian being a volunteer firefighter himself. Everybody at ISCA, all you guys up in the booth, my mom, my dad, my kids, my brother, my niece, my nephew, everybody for their support, my girlfriend, just everybody that makes this possible. Wouldn't be here without all them, and all my teammates that are working together here. Really good, and everything's starting to click for us.
And thank you, Joshua, for being able to take the time to join us up here in the broadcast booth. Congratulations on a 3rd place finish, and best of luck next week in Texas.
Thank you.
And well, Brian, that is Al, that's just about going to do it for us here tonight. But of course, round number 4 coming on up in just 1 week's time at Fort Worth, Texas, at the Texas Motor Speedway. Bound to be another entertaining race there. What's your thoughts on it?
My thoughts are this is wide open, and it's anybody's to grab it. These guys are going to, if they continue to come out here every Saturday and race like they race, leaving it all out there, the rest of this season is going to be nothing short of spectacular.
Nothing short of spectacular indeed. So, from us here at the Ireland Stock Car Association, from myself, Nolan Rempel, along with Alfonso Nixon and Rob Melton behind the cameras, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join us for more iRacing Stock Car Association action for the Cheerwine 200 and the ISCA Tucson Sound Art Cup Series. We'll be back next week in Texas.